Hello and welcome to all of our Gold viewers who are here with us today. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and one of the MCs here at Gold. And today I'm talking to Dr. Sonal Patel about her upcoming presentation for our Gold Neonatal Conference here of 2024. Welcome, Sonal.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So wonderful to have you here. I love the presentation title that you have lined up for us, Small Step, Big Gains, a new toolkit for supporting breastfeeding in the NICU. Fantastic. I really want to know more about that. But first of all, let's talk about you for a moment. You are a pediatrician, neonatologist, and breastfeeding expert. So talk about your professional journey just briefly here.
Yes, so I was very fortunate that I was able to see the country through my education. So I did med school in Nebraska,
Oh.
University of Nebraska Medical Center. Then I did residency down in New Orleans. My husband's a physician too, so we couples match. Then I was able to spend my last year of fellowship out at Tufts Medical Center out
Mm.
in Boston, and then I got my first job in practicing out in Denver. So that's where I got my big shoes on and started practicing as a full-time neonatal attending. So yes, it's been a wonderful journey.
It's a wonderful journey. You also have, you're also a breastfeeding expert, which, is fantastic, especially, in your capacity at the NICU. How did you add to that? When did that happen? When did you add that
Yeah.
a piece of education to your?
I think it just evolved. My first baby was in residency, and at this time, this was 2005. So there was also just a lack of education for term babies as well.
Mhm.
I always am very frank with my journey. It was a complete disaster in my initially when I was going through it, introduced formula quite a bit early, didn't really have the tools and the skills in my back pocket to know what a growth spurt looks like or if I'm doing something right or wrong. And then with my other three, so I have four boys, they were after we had moved out to Denver. And then throughout that was just part of it was just my own education about empowering myself to feel comfortable with breastfeeding and
Mhm.
just piecing in those informations. And then when you added the NICU part of it, I always say that I really don't know how breastfeeding became a benchmark for motherhood, but you put so much emphasis on it. And then even more so as a NICU mom, because you know the value of breastfeeding. You know
Mhm.
how much every drop, we say every drop counts. And so through just those 7.5 years that I actually was practicing, added more and more education, learned a lot from my patients as well, because what we tend to think is breastfeeding just happens in isolation,
Mhm.
but in reality, it doesn't. There's so many factors that go with it, and there's so many stressors that can derail the process, and how
Right.
to really cultivate a journey that supports that family and family as a unit. And then yeah, and then I started my home health business, and again, it started evolving into really recognizing that it is breastfeeding is I mean, it is encompassing to the family, and how we can each support each dyad in that care. So it obviously, I think everything starts with your own struggles, and
Mhm.
you get curious and you want to do better for yourself. And throughout the process, you just get open to the realities of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right. Breastfeeding, especially in the NICU, it adds a whole different dimension to breastfeeding, right?
Mhm.
So, well, thank you for sharing that here with us. You're a very busy lady. You also had a TEDx talk, right, on the fourth trimester, which I watched and I found very moving. So for our viewers too, maybe is something that they want to check out too, as well.
Yes. No, that was just a really amazing experience, because when we talk, even if we talk about breastfeeding, we always tend to societally, culturally, biases, whatever you fill in the blank, tend to really focus on the infant dynamic of
Hmm.
breastfeeding. And always there's something wrong with what mom is doing. And the fourth trimester, changing what that term means. So we are of not calling it the postpartum period purposely, because the fourth trimester just simply recognizes that there's another 3 months where the health of both moms and babies are intertwined.
Hmm.
And we are not supporting that in even our medical field. We're not supporting that. We're not
Right.
recognizing that happens. And then to add the layer of economics to it. Okay, so what does it really mean to lose a mother when we're talking about maternal mortality and
Hmm.
all of those risk factors? And that's how it kind of really just evolved into. And again, going back to, all right, there's another, and so that's what we call it dyad care.
Yeah.
There's another person that's there, and we've got to kind of just help figure all of it out, um, for this dyad and this particularly the mom.
Yeah.
Over the years, I always go, just as an NICU, babies for most part are going to be fine. They need a lot of love. They need a lot of cradling. They need all of that. It's just that we really do need to focus and empower our mothers also.
Thank you. That was beautifully said. And now I'm very curious, of course, about the presentation, and I love the title, Small Step Big Gains.
Yeah.
The new toolkit for supporting breastfeeding in the NICU, the new toolkit. So tell us briefly a little bit about it, what it's new, and is this something we can take into our hospitals? How does it work?
Yeah, so it's actually, I'm a spokesperson for our toolkit. It was developed by myself, a neonatal nurse practitioner, Patty James, and a neonatal nurse who is Courtney Messina, and we're all our breastfeeding advocates. And that was very important because we wanted to understand and we wanted to incorporate the culture and logistics of the NICU with what we all want to achieve, right? We want to
Hmm.
achieve breastfeeding. We know it saves money in the NICU through prevention of necrotizing enterocolitis. However, there is a culture of the NICU that we cannot overlook. Meaning, for example, you might be working in a level 4 NICU where there is emergencies happening right and left. Or you might be working in a level 3 NICU where it could be quiet and all of a sudden, boom, there's something happens. Or in the NICU that I used to work in was a safety net hospital where we would have, parents, first of all, sorry, this is going to be a little bit more bias in there, but we don't have paid family leave, right? We're
Right.
finally
Hmm.
starting to get it. And in that hospital, a lot of families would come at night.
Hmm.
So, how do you incorporate all of those factors? And one of the things that we're going to talk about in the lecture itself is what the trend of burnout is right now.
Yeah.
How do you change culture and how do you change mindsets when there's so much burnout? And how do you advocate for breastfeeding in that manner? So what we decided is that it has to be a partnership with the NICU team and
Hmm.
the parent. And it is based on dozens and dozens of developmental research, and it is some degree infant driven, but it adds a layer of, okay, let's recognize where we are in the NICU, right?
Hmm.
Like infant development and feeding driven is great. However, what if the mom can't come until the middle of the night when you
Right.
are only have your minimal staff, right?
Hmm.
Or what if you have an RN that just joined the NICU team, or a neonatologist who is working with just numbers, right? We love our numbers in the NICU.
Hmm.
So it is a partnership between the mom and the NICU team. And it gives you concrete guidelines. So this is not an amorphous thing, because sometimes even infant driven, some of those research that we saw was like, oh, when this baby gets this level, when baby gets that level. What we've done is we really said, okay, here are the guidelines. These are guidelines. They can be followed. They're very transparent. It is between mom and so mom also knows, mom feels also empowered. Mom
Hmm.
can also take, sometimes you have a NICU that is overwhelmed and they don't have lactation there. But then the mom can also take the toolkit and say, hey, listen, this is what I've learned. These are the things that I've learned. Do you think it's okay for me to, my baby's now 34 weeks, right? They are
Right,
able to swallow. So is it okay if they can learn how to suck on my empty breast? And
right.
so it's literally giving people, both the NICU and the family, just verbiage and
Mhm.
guidelines and just saying it. And one of the things that the toolkit does do, it goes beyond the NICU to the outpatient world. So I worked in the outpatient world for a year and a half and just realized the lack of information there as well. And I would say guidance.
Mhm.
So it goes all the way from identifying a mom who might be coming to the NICU, all the way to meeting her goals as an outpatient.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love what you describe as a partnership also, where the parent is a part of the care, becomes part of the care team. So it's not just something that is implemented in the hospital and like as a policy or as a protocol, but also that the parents are able to also integrate that and take that and be fully part of that. I can only imagine how empowering that must also be for the NICU parents to be part of that, not just something that's implemented in the hospital by procedure and protocol. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
And then you're combining a couple of factors together, right? You have the breast milk, which we know if we can get fresh breast milk from the mom, that's very tailored to baby. We
Mhm.
can reduce the amount of donor milk dependence. We can also reduce the risk for necrotizing enterocolitis. And then
Right.
when you get the mom involved in the care of their babies, they actually, research has shown that those babies go home a day or two earlier, in some cases, in some cases even more, because they just get comfortable taking care of their babies. It's not this like,
Yes.
they're not just walking into like this like science fiction
Right.
area
It
where
is true.
oh,
Yeah.
they can't touch their babies. And then when they go into the outpatient world, they understand, when we talk about developmental milestones, that we are talking about, okay, your baby is a 34 weeker, so they're 6 weeks early. So developmentally, they're going to be 6 weeks behind. So all of that verbiage that doesn't become foreign to them. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I get
Mhm.
this. I get that it's development, not chronological age.
Right. Oh, that's fascinating. I really enjoy this. I really enjoy talking to you. I can't wait for your presentation. There's so much that we can take from the presentation, take into our practice, work with the parents and in the NICU to implement this. I'm looking really very much forward to it. So now.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for this opportunity. I mean, this is you guys' learning is just phenomenal. So really,
Thank you.
so excited to be part of it.
And now some information for our viewers as well. If you are interested in this presentation and all the other presentations in the conference, we invite you to go to goldneonatal.com. You'll find all the topics there, information on speakers. And also, I want to mention on June 3rd, we get started with our open access free keynote presentations by Dr. Niels Bergman. So I hope to see everyone there. And please, everyone, share that information with your friends and staff and colleagues in the fields. Thank you again, Dr. Sonal Patel, for coming here and presenting at Gold. And thank you to all of our viewers as well. Bye-bye, everyone.